How do you give feedback? Do you use any of the feedback system? I have one for you, which is a great tool and different from others. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, my name is Debopom Sanyal and I am your personal coach. Feedback is one of the most important part of your professional and personal life. You would come across a many situation where you have to provide feedback to the person, and that is important, that how you give feedback to them. The most important and challenging part of feedback is that you have to connect to the person whom you are giving feedback. And that is why this tool that I'm going to provide you is going to be effective. The first thing that comes to mind while giving a feedback is, at what situation are you in? Now, feedback is generally connected to a negative feeling, right? That somebody needs to be improved on something, or you want to tell someone that there are different ways of doing it, right? It is not always the case. You can give feedback to person when they are already doing good, but you want them to improve more, right? And that is the beauty of feedback. Remember, feedback comes from within. Feedback is not something that you ought to give to someone, right? It is something that comes from your heart. You want the other person to improve, and that is why you're giving feedback. There will be many instances where one person does not like the other, and they do not really care to give the feedback. So feedback is something that comes from care from your soul. So it's very important that you provide them the right inputs in a right way. Now, I define this tool as SCORE. SCORE is the way you give feedback with empathy and compassion. Now, how do you do that? And what does SCORE stands for? The S stands for story. Now here I drift away from typical feedback system that we have. Now, generally it is said that context is important, right? Context is important, and context is the soul of any feedback system. However, I think context, yes, it is important, but we should not start with context, right? If you are directly jumping into the events that has happened or occurred on which you are talking about, this might not engage the person. And now I'm saying this not based on books or theory. I'm saying this with my experience that I have come across, that I have engaged with people, that I have given feedback or received feedback over the years, right? So how does that work out? So what I do is I tell a story, and that story could be anything. That story could be from your personal life. That story could be from straight from your children's book. That story could be anything that you have read or you have heard about from different other speakers, right? That story is generally something that you would lay the foundation on before you give the feedback, right? So what you are doing, you are catching the attention of the person to whom you are giving the feedback, and that is very important. Remember, no feedback system, including the SCORE, hold any value unless the person whom you are talking to is interested, right? So it can only work when the other person is interested, and that is why it is important that both of the person are interested. One is in providing the feedback, another one in receiving, right? So don't drag that story, don't do it for too much. Ensure that the story is short, crisp, and you are laying the foundation. The moment you have caught the attention of that person, you switch to the next, that is C. That stands for connect to the context. Now here I bring the context. Now here is your story, the foundation on which you have built your feedback on. And now here is the context, which is the event that happened, whatever the incident might be in your professional or personal life. Now you try to connect the story with your context so that the person who is listening to you understand from where you're coming. Understand they have all your they already have your attention. Now you are bringing them to the context. Now once you have established the context after the foundation, you move to the next one, which is O. That stands for observation, which is very similar to the rest of the feedback system which we have, right? So that is the observation. In the observation, what you do is you share your intention about the entire incident, right? Now how do you do it? Don't be judgmental. Don't enforce your feelings. Don't enforce your judgment on other, right? Remember, you are giving a feedback that comes from your lean mindset. You want the person to continuously improve. What is the best thing that you can do? What you can do is you can talk about the incident in a different light, how it could have been, how it could have happened in a different way, how it could have been more fruitful, and all that positive stuff. Don't say the negative stuff about it, that oh, it didn't go well. No, that's not a way to give the feedback. Feedback is about talking about the positives. You can put yourself in that position and talk about that, right? Don't blame anyone, don't praise anyone. Be in that zone of finding out the balance to continuously improve, right? Once you have shared this observation, next part is R, which is replay. Now, what does replay means? Replay is very effective where you now ask the other person to come into the picture of the feedback system. So feedback is between two people, right? It's not only that you share and go. That is fruitless. It doesn't going to make any difference, any impact. So what you do is you ask the other person to come into that picture and talk about how he could or she could have handled this entire situation differently. You can ask powerful questions, you can talk them, you can help them, and all that, right? But remember, you should not enforce again your opinion, your situation. You need to help them to understand how they could improve. You can ask them question, you can ask them suggestion, you can provide them suggestion and all that. All right. So what you are doing, you are replaying the entire incident with that participant so that there are scope of improvement that she has found out now. Now, here is that stage where you have to understand that you might not find the solution, right? It could happen the other person does not understand what are the other ways, and that's okay, right? That was never your goal to make people believe that they can improve or what are the areas they need to improve on that very day. That was not your intention. Your intention was to help them understand the first stage of improvement, that is acknowledgement. That means you can do better. This is wherever you are, you can do better. That is the goal, that is the outcome that you have, right? So once they understood that, once it has sunk in, then the next step comes, which is E, that is engagement, where you continuously engage with that person. The next stage, which is E, engagement, here is what happens. You continuously engage in a dialogue with that person on the findings that they have found out, or you can help and provide your suggestion as well. By this, what you are doing is you are maintaining that environment, and that environment is to find better solutions or to find other ways where you can improve, right? So again, remember, feedback is something which comes from your soul. It's something that you want to give to a person because you want them to improve. It's not a criticism. Feedback is not criticism, right? Where you go and pounce on someone. Now that's not the case. Feedback is something where it is very constructive, right? Where you provide your valuable opinion in a non-opinionated way. That's what does it mean, right? So you should not go and enforce again your feedback, and this code, this is a tool which can be applied anywhere. in a professional setup, in a personal setup, wherever you want, right? And remember, what you are trying to do is you are trying to help that other person, and that is how you actually maintain feedback, right? I hope that clarifies. I hope that helps. You can use the score. I'll mention the score again below in the description. Do provide your feedback in the comment section. Help me improve, right? This is the entire feedback is between two people. Two people want to improve. So that's why I always say that you give them the opportunity to come up with a solution, right? Because you might get astonished to see that they come up with better solution that you already have in your mind. So remember, you can also learn from that feedback session, right? So do provide me the feedback, and if you implement the score in your personal professional life, do provide me the feedback on that as well, right? If you want to connect with me, do connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to personally reach out to me, there is my email address in the description below. Please reach out to me. We can have array of discussions. Till the next video, thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon.